Did you guys know that back in the 1940s, the US actually had a radar installation 50 miles off the coast of Venezuela? I bet you didn't, but I've actually been there. I filmed this a couple years ago in conjunction with what is now my second YouTube channel, Deep Dive with Ian, which is specifically all about scuba diving and related stuff. And I filmed this when I was at the Tanki Maraka site and then put it aside because it didn't really seem all that interesting or relevant. Well, I don't know about you, I did not have US war with Venezuela on my bingo card for late 2025, but now that that seems to be happening, this seems to be a much more topical and potentially interesting bit of footage. So let's head down to the Dutch Caribbean just off the north coast of Venezuela and check out the Tanki Maraka site on Bonaire.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to just a short little piece of interesting, weird site World War II history. I am here on Tanki Maraka. This is a site on Bonaire, which is one of the three main Dutch Caribbean islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curaçao, the ABC Islands. Now, when World War II broke out in Europe, there were, of course, Dutch soldiers, Dutch government possessions here in the Caribbean, and there were also Germans on them. There were about 200 German and Austrian sailors who happened to be in port in Aruba and Curaçao when the war began, and there were another probably 250 German and Austrian citizens, civilians, who were in the islands. And when the war broke out, all of those people were all basically arrested, and they were all interned at a camp here on Bonaire. Now, early in 1941, Germans launched a few small but not inconsequential attacks on oil facilities, oil refining facilities here in the Caribbean. And the Dutch government, speaking with the American government, decided to invite US troops down to help provide security on all three of the islands, including Bonaire here. So in total, the US Caribbean Command, if you didn't know we had a Caribbean Command in World War II, but we did, they sent about 2,500 troops total down to the Dutch Caribbean islands. And here at Tanki Maraka, there were about 150 or 250 American soldiers for about 5 years, from 1942 until 1947. The camp existed here. Now, this camp was specifically, primarily, to support a radar installation, an early sort of experimental radar installation. There was also, of course, the internment camp here on Bonaire, but that was run by the Dutch authorities, Dutch policemen. The American troops really had nothing to do with it. And in fact, halfway through the war, half of those people, half the internees, were taken out and sent to a British prison on Jamaica. Specifically, the merchant seamen who were here got sent to Jamaica instead. US troops would remain until the end of the war. They had a not insubstantial facility here at Tanki Maraka, fairly large. They had a basketball court, they had a baseball court, they had water tanks, showers, a number of barracks. All these structures above ground were just wooden with concrete foundations. And today, all that remains on the site, aside from some rusty oil drums and assorted small debris, are the concrete foundations. So the site was essentially bulldozed by the Americans when we left. All the structures were taken down. And so it disappeared fairly quickly, and it was actually lost for many decades. People just kind of forgot about it. And it was only in the early 2000s that a group of local archaeologists were able to pinpoint exactly where it had been through oral history, and then come out here and do some on-site archaeological research, not so much excavation, but surveying, and find the remnants of the base. And they were able to map out what had been here at the installation. So it's kind of a cool site. There's a whole bunch of signage like this. It doesn't go into very much depth, but it does do a pretty darn good job of giving you an overview of everything that happened here, right down to, you know, the friction between the American troops and the locals and the Dutch troops, which, by the way, came down to, not surprisingly, women, money, and not having anything better to do, and alcohol. But it's a very cool site. It's very cool that the government here on Bonaire has, I don't know how much they were involved directly, but they've allowed it and encouraged it to be set up as a sort of a historical park. So if you're ever here on Bonaire diving, it is an absolutely magnificent place to go scuba diving, which is why I'm here for vacation. But if you're here doing that, you're going to have some spare time. Tanki Maraka is up on the north side of the island, and it's going to be a stop on your way back from some of the shore diving sites up north. So if you have the opportunity, definitely take a look at it. Thanks for watching.